Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you with a couple of book hauls here. Um, so I'm actually going to do this in a two-part series, but I got a handful of books from a couple of my favorite stores, Books Revisited and the Jesse James Antique Mall, the outlet mall. I guess the Rusty Chandelier is another outlet deal that's hooked on to Jesse James, so maybe I should mention that too. But anyway, I do some book buying in all three of those places, and I'm always finding some real good stuff, or what I think is real good stuff, and I always like to share it with you. And so last weekend, I had, well, actually, it's been a little over a week, I guess, a week and a couple of days. And anyway, we went shopping down in St. Joe, and we stopped at the bookstore, and I found some stuff. And so I wanted to share that with you. And so I thought I would start with that. I'll start with some paperbacks that I had gotten, and I had also, I guess I might add in that I also got a couple of things in the mail, and I'll tell you what's from the mail. So. Well, I guess a couple of these are from our local bookstore. So this is a mixed bag. Okay, so I start over. This is a mixed bag of books for this book haul. So anyway, we'll actually start with a magazine. This is my copy of Biblical Archaeology Review for the spring of 2023. Came in the mail, and these are fairly cheap subscription magazine, and gets into exactly what the title says, biblical archaeology. And I hadn't even opened this yet to see what the highlights were. So some of the highlights, one of the features is Jesus in the synagogue. We got Jeremiah's journey to Egypt, who lived at Hazar. And then we got Set in Stone, another look at the Mesha steel. And there's just all kinds of different things inside this. But I always enjoy looking at these, just seeing what archaeology is digging up and finding. So there's one thing. So all right, so when I was in the Jesse James Antique Mall, I was looking through the books, but they also have a magazine rack, one of those racks that spins tall, and it's got 4 different sides and it spins. And so anyway, I was looking through there, and they keep magazines on there. Sometimes they'll have history magazines like American History Magazine or Civil War Times, that kind of stuff. But they also have a whole bunch of comic books in there. And I don't usually buy a ton of comic books. I like comic books, but I got to pick and choose my battles, and my books are going to win. So I don't usually get the comic books too often, but I saw G.I. Joe issue number 80, and I have been for the last, I don't know how many years, since I was a kid, picking up all the G.I. Joe comic books that I could find, trying to I want to complete this whole series. And it's a very a doable endeavor, because there's not, the G.I. Joe run wasn't that long, and so that has been my goal. And so I picked these up here and there. I have like a list on my phone of what I have, so that I know what to get and what not to get, so I don't end up with too many doubles or anything like that. But so I picked up G.I. Joe. It's always good to add another one to the collection. I found, so this is a book. These are some books from Books Revisited. Or was this one? Actually, this one, I am not sure which one I got this from. Let's see. Nope, this was from Jesse James. Yep, this one for sure was from Jesse James. But this is a little United States in World War I, a little history by Don Lawson. And I have another one that's almost identical to this, that's for the Korean War. And I thought, oh, cool. And when I was going through this book, it's got lots of pictures as it goes through, as you can see there. And this is going to be a really fast read. It is, let me give you some of the details. It's from Scholastic Book Services out of New York, and it is, let's see, this one was printed in 1967, originally 1963, but this one was 1967, and you're talking like 152 pages total. So I'll buzz right through this. So I'm looking forward to it, because World War I's an interesting topic to me, and yeah, I want to learn as much as I can from as many point of views as I can. Another one that I picked up at, let's see, where was this one at? Was this one? I'm not 100% sure which one I got this. I'm guessing Jesse James also, but this is Relief Pitcher. And this is, I thought, when I picked this one up, I thought this would be really good for my opening day project where I'm going to read baseball all summer. You know, at least one biography every month through the whole baseball season, but this would be a nice fictional account to add in as well. And this is by Dick Friedlich. It is from Scholastic Books again. A little bit of an older book here. It is from 1966. 1966, originally 1964, it looks like. And it's 222 pages, so it looks like it'll be a nice little quick read. Just an enjoyable baseball story. I tend to like those, as you guys know that follow the channel. As I was digging through, I found, and these were at Books Revisited. I know these were at Books Revisited, but I found another Ken Follett book. As you guys know, I've been reading the Century Trilogy series over the last year and a half or so, and they're pretty big books. And I want to get into his medieval series of books. I need to get the first book, and I have the second book. I need to get the first book, but I want to get started on those because I'm really loving Ken Follett's writing. But as I've been going along, I've been picking up all these paperbacks that he has written. And this is the, let's see if I can pronounce this, the Modigliani scandal. Yeah, I probably messed that up, as I do all my pronouncing of words on this. But this says, it's a fabulous lost masterpiece becomes the ultimate prize for an art historian whose ambition consumes everyone around her. An angry young painter with a plan for revenge on the art establishment and a desperate gallery owner who may have double-crossed his own life away. Behind the elegance and glamour of the art world, anything goes. Theft, forgery, betrayal, and maybe even murder. So I'm looking forward to that. This is a signet book, and it was printed in, looks like 1985. 1985, so looking forward to that. It's one of his smaller ones. He usually writes really big, really big, thick books. So this is a 256-page book, so looking forward to that. This was a classic that I found at Books Revisited. I've heard so much said about this. I'm pretty sure there was a movie made over it too, and I am not sure if I've seen it or not. I've watched over the years a lot of war movies when I was younger with my dad on a Saturday afternoon, falling asleep on the couch. And so I may have seen, I think there's a movie that goes with this. I probably should have looked that up to begin with, but The Bridge Over River Kwai. And I found the paperback. I thought that was pretty cool. I've heard this mentioned lots of times, and I thought I would, give it a read. It says in one of the most famous and widely read novels of our time, Pierre Bull tells the story of Colonel Nicholson, brilliant officer, disciplinarian, perfectionist, whose passion for duty led him to perform an almost impossible feat of military genius for the Japanese army he hated. And so looking forward to that. This is, like I said, a Bantam Pathfinder edition, it says. And let's see, out of New York, and it would be, holy moly, a lot of printings of this one, 1963. So we got lots of 1960 stuff here. But yeah, looking forward to digging into that. It's another fairly short 150 pages. I've been really liking these short paperbacks, 200 pages or less, or, it could be slightly over 200, but I've been reading a lot of those lately and just enjoying them. Good stories. All right, and so I went to my local bookstore here in town, and I asked the store owner if she could order in a couple Agatha Christie's for me, because I've been trying to, the Agatha Christie project going on here at the Ruttenberg Library, and I've been trying to read, we've been reading Miss Marple in the order that they were published, and while I was doing that, because, it only takes a couple of days to read through one, and so I've been like ending my month, my last week with Miss Marple, the last week of the month, but I've been beginning the month with Hercule Poirot, and I picked up the next couple in that series of books by Agatha Christie. So Poirot Investigates. This says it's the first collection of short stories featuring Hercule Poirot. Anyway, displays the brilliance of one of the world's favorite fictional detectives in an entertaining variety of cases. No criminal can outwit Agatha Christie's famously eccentric Belgian detective as he uses his little gray cells to solve a series of ingenious crimes. From a film star's disappearing diamond to a death in a locked room to the abduction of a prime minister, no plot is too fiendishly clever to withstand Poirot's deductive powers for long. A treat for mystery lovers of all kinds, this collection proves once again that Christie is the queen of crime. Excuse me. And so looking forward to that. And then I also got The Big Four. And one of the things that really attracted me to these books is, I mean, the stories, obviously, I'm enjoying those, but look at the covers on these. The artwork on the covers are absolutely fantastic. I'm absolutely loving these. And this is from Vintage. I think I forgot to say that. It's from Vintage. And yeah, I love these covers. So let me read the back of this one. It says, in The Big Four, Agatha Christie's beloved detective Hercule Poirot, I'm going to get it right one of these times. I left in the comments section a little story about trying to pronounce this. I am horrible at pronouncing foreign words and foreign names, folks. Please don't judge me too much. I am horrible at it, though, but I promise you I am trying. I had lots of people in the comment sections, spelling out how to actually say it. And so I went over it and over it. I got on Google on the pronounce, type in the name and then hit pronounce afterwards, and it'll give you like a little YouTube soundbite that'll tell you how to say it. I've listened to it over and over again. I've watched the movies, the BBC series. I've been watching those, and I even, like, they said his name and I pause it. I'd try to say it 10, 15 times, and then I'd rewind, listen to it, say it, rewind, listen to it, say it. I did that over and over again. I think my wife thought I was a nutcase because I was walking around the house trying to say it, and I don't know that I ever got it right one time. So I am trying. Please don't judge me too much. Anyway, getting back to the back cover. So in The Big Four, Agatha Christie's beloved detective, Hercule Poirot, takes on an international gang of super criminals and then introduces the world to his identical twin, Achille Poirot. When a series of apparently unconnected murders attracts Poirot's attention, one small detail stands out: the mysterious recurrence of the number 4. Poirot travels from London to Paris and from Belgium to Italy, solving one mystery after another, but always remaining a step behind the shadowy foursome he suspects are responsible. A final daring confrontation puts the eccentric detective's life on the line until his reclusive twin brother comes to the rescue. So really looking forward to these. I thoroughly enjoy reading through them. It's just been a lot of fun. And again, this comes from Vintage Books. I love these vintage covers that they come up with and vintage classics. Like I got some other ones over here, some science fiction from H.G. Wells that I picked up from Vintage Classics, and I really love the covers. They just got a really cool design to them. But anyway, this is out of New York, and this was printed just this year, 2023. This book looks like it was originally, this book was published in 1927 originally, I think. But anyway, really loving these. I'm going to probably continue to pick up books in that series. All right, so the next one that I found this at, the Rusty Chandelier, and I thought this looked really interesting. They got a little thing set up in there where there's a lot of books, and well, it's not a lot, but a few shelves worth of books to look through, and they got some good history titles, and so I picked this one up. This is The Imperial Cruise, A Secret History of Empire and War by James Bradley. And I believe this goes back to President Theodore Roosevelt when he sent the Navy around the world, and quite the interesting little story. And I'm looking forward to this. This is from Back Bay Books, and it was printed in 2010. This copy was 2010, and this says, following the success of his two best-selling books about World War II, James Bradley began to wonder what the real catalyst was for the Pacific War. What he discovered will forever change the way you think about American history and the origins of war and empire in Asia. In 1905, Teddy Roosevelt dispatched Secretary of War William Taft, his own daughter Alice, and a team of congressmen on a mission to Japan, the Philippines, China, and Korea, with the intent of forging an agreement to divide up Asia. This clandestine and wholly unconstitutional pact lit the fuse that would decades later result in a number of devastating wars: World War II, the Korean War, the Communist Revolution in China. In 2005, James Bradley traveled in the wake of Roosevelt's cruise and came face to face with the remarkable truth about America's imperial ambitions, a story that has been effectively erased from our history books. So looking forward to reading that. I've got his other two, let's see, he wrote Flyboys. I'm pretty sure I picked that up. Flags of Our Fathers, I know I have. So I've got those other ones. Looking forward to reading this because I think Teddy Roosevelt was a fascinating character, and I say that realizing that imperialism was very much on his mind. I find him to be one of those characters in history that what the things they did really changed history, and so he fascinates me. I don't always agree with what he did. Don't take that the wrong way, but just fascinating nonetheless. And then the last one is Dearest Friend, A Life of Abigail Adams. And so really looking forward to that. This book was like in brand new condition, and I got it for just a couple of dollars. So I was real excited about that. It comes from Touchstone Books, copyright 1981, but this is a 2002 edition. And so it's all about Abigail Adams. And says, this is the life of Abigail Adams, wife of patriot John Adams, who became the most influential woman in the Revolutionary America. Rich with excerpts from her personal letters, Dearest Friend captures the public and private sides of the fascinating woman, who was both an advocate of slave emancipation and a burgeoning feminist, urging her husband to remember the ladies as he framed the laws of their new country. John and Abigail Adams married for love. While John traveled in America and abroad to help forge a new nation, Abigail remained at home, raising 4 children, managing their estate, and writing letters to her beloved husband, chronicling their remarkable 54-year marriage, her blossoming feminism, her battles with loneliness, and her friendships with Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. Dearest Friend paints a portrait of Abigail Adams as an intelligent, resourceful, and outspoken woman, and she was very much so. Very interesting character in American history. I've enjoyed reading about her. I read, who the heck wrote the book? I think Gordon Wood that wrote the book he wrote a book on John Adams and Abigail Adams and their letters back and forth, which is very much, it sounds like along the same premise as this, but the exception is this one is more from Abigail's point of view is what it sounds like. So this is going to be really good, I think. I think it was Gordon Wood. Well, anyway, it was one of the American historians that's, writes a lot of books. Pretty famous guy, good writer, good teacher. But I really enjoyed that, so I think I'm going to most likely thoroughly enjoy that. So anyway, BookTube, I have rambled on for long enough. Hopefully, maybe you've got some titles you want to go look up. If you've read any of these, let me know what you think. And I thank you for watching. And until next time, happy reading.